Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we are live from Opportunities Corner, and this session is in collaboration with Language House. Language House is your online academy for learning all types of English courses, whether it is a spoken course, it is a fluency course, or any other type of course for organizational or business communication, grammar, everything is available on online courses. In some time we'll be starting our session formally, and I'll be taking this time to introduce myself. I'm Sana Khattak, Language House CEO, and I run the things on this in this academy. So as now we are getting some viewers, so our time is very precious. I think we should start with a session. So today's session is about IELTS vocabulary. That is a very popular question that I get whenever I go anywhere to teach IELTS, that what sort of vocabulary should we be using in an IELTS exam. So some people think that using slangs would make them look very modern and they get a good band. Some people think that using very hardcore vocabulary, words from literature will make them look really cool and give them a good band. Well, I'm here to bust all your myths, and in a while we'll be starting by busting all the myths one by one about IELTS vocabulary. In the end of the session, I'll give you 2-3 good words that you can use in your IELTS vocabulary, and I'll also tell you where you can go to find good resources for your IELTS vocabulary. So I'd be sharing my screen with you guys so that you can follow my lecture. Okay. So first thing is we are here to bust myths about IELTS. And the first myth is we should use a lot of difficult words in IELTS writing and IELTS speaking to get a good band. Well, to be honest, using a lot of difficult words means if you are saying yourself that they are difficult words, that means that you're using a lot of your energy to use these words in your session. Most likely you'll be nervous as well, and you'll use them in the wrong way. And this might cause you lose your band instead of having any good band in IELTS exam. So I think you guys can see the next screen. So my recommendation is that we need to include appropriate and expected vocabulary to score good in IELTS speaking and writing exam, instead of using any hardcore vocabulary. You need to include appropriate and expected vocabulary in your IELTS exam. And now many students ask me that what is appropriate and expected vocabulary, and how do we know that the examiner is expecting us to use this specific kind of vocabulary? Why? I think we have some streaming problem. Guys, can you please mention in the comments if the screen is not visible? Well, can somebody tell me if it's visible now? I think it is visible right now. Okay, so yes, here is the screen. So as I was telling you guys, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Here we are back. So I was busting the IELTS myths, and the first myth is that we need to include appropriate and expected vocabulary to score good in IELTS speaking. And I was telling you guys that difficult vocabulary, if you're saying that you're using difficult vocabulary, then it means that it is using a lot of your energy and you're not paying attention to your pronunciation and your grammar. So despite the fact that you've learned a bunch of good words, you will not be able to make a very good impression on the IELTS examiner because you're finding the words difficult. So the best way is use appropriate and expected vocabulary. In a while, I'll also tell you guys that what do I exactly mean by expected vocabulary. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So as you can see in this slide, I've explained what is appropriate and expected vocabulary. Every word that you've ever heard is always used in a special context, and it cannot be fitted anywhere and everywhere, right? So I'll give you an example to understand this thing. In English language, there are a few words to describe different levels of thinking, and these four words are thinking, wondering, pondering, and contemplating. Now, if you look at them a little bit closely, you'll realize that thinking is the most generic term that you can use anywhere. If you're thinking about what to eat, you can use it. And even if you're thinking about which degree to choose, which is a very high level of decision for yourself, you can still use it. So, thinking is the generalized form of this word, of the concept of thinking, and you're free to use it anywhere. The second one is wondering. Now, wondering is slightly complex as compared to thinking because it has a touch of tajub, like we say in Urdu, when when you're not sure about something and you're wondering that whether this will be in a particular way or the opposite way that you are thinking. So, as I've used it for you, I'm wondering if you could lend me a bike for a day. Now, you do not know what the other person is going to answer. The other person is going to say yes or he's going to say no. You're not sure of that. So, wondering is used in this specific context. The third is pondering. Pondering also means some kind of intellectual processing involved in the thinking, some kind of higher intellectual processes. And usually, this word is used when you're thinking about philosophies or deeper phenomena. So it can be used in context like, he sits in the nature to ponder over his life. This is a correct sentence and the correct context in which a word like pondering can be used. And then to describe the highest form of thinking, there is this word in English which is called contemplating. Contemplating means when you're thinking about something and your mind is analyzing it very closely, and also your mind is about to invent something of its own by thinking about that thing. For example, look at the sentence I have written here. He's contemplating over language theories to evolve a new one. So contemplation is this type of thinking where you are criticizing something in your mind and you're about to evolve something of your own. The highest form of thinking, that is contemplating. Now, if I try to use the word contemplating in the context of just thinking, that will be not correct. That will be, in fact, satirical. If I say, I am contemplating what to eat in the dinner, this is a satire. I might be saying it to impress someone that he has asked a very stupid question, right? But contemplation in its true context is only used when you're doing some very high level thinking and you're about to evolve some theory or philosophy of your own. I hope you have understood this point, that it is not important to use difficult vocabulary. However, it is important to use appropriate vocabulary. I was looking at the comments and somebody just said that the sound is too low. You guys can use your earphones. That will make it better for you guys. So let's move on to the next slide. And that is about word collocations. So many people often ask me what is the correct way to learn new words in English language. And to be frank and honest, most of the people usually have a large list of words with themselves and they are learning the list, and then they say that, oh, we have learned the whole list, yet we do not get good band in IELTS. Why is that so? The reason is, by just learning the long lists of words, you're not using the words in your IELTS writing or speaking. So the examiner cannot dream and see that you have learned a long list of words. He needs to know that you can use them as well, right? So for IELTS writing, I would say that read a large number of topics related to the topics which appear in IELTS exam. This way, you'll be able to make your own collocations of words. Collocations are groups of words which often come into play when you're talking about a topic in general. And definitely they include the appropriate and the expected vocabulary. I'm going to give you an example of how to learn words through word collocations. For example, a very popular topic in IELTS essay exam is language learning. There are questions like, um, at what age do you think is it appropriate to learn a foreign language for a young child? Do you think they should start the language at primary school or the higher school? So this type of questions are very common in an IELTS exam. Now, the topic actually is language learning, and the related vocabulary or collocations or the group of words that will be included in this manner will be language learning, first language, second language, mother tongue, foreign language. These are all the words which will come into play when you are actually discussing this topic. First language is any language that you learn uh, first of all. The language you learn, this is also called language zero, because when you learn this language, you do not have any other language. The second language is again any language you learn after your first language is your second language. Mother tongue is the language that your mother speaks, and usually, in most of the cases, mother tongue is the first language of the child. And lastly, foreign language is any new language that you learn in order to for your studies or for your business or any other purpose. Any language that you learn is your foreign language. So these set of words should be used when you are discussing language learning. This is the expected vocabulary because you have to use it, and you cannot define language learning without using any of these terms. So I recommend that read about the topic and write down, take a book and make the word collocations on your book so that you can move forward. Let's move to the next slide. There are a few pro tips which will be very useful for you guys when you start learning the new words. So the first is learn the words in context, and the best way is to underline interesting words from your reading module. Well, time economy comes into play whenever you are preparing for your IELTS exam. It's not possible that you study one module individually and don't pay any attention to the other modules. So go towards integrated learning, which means while learning for one module, you also learn another one. So my recommendation is that whenever you are learning IELTS reading, practicing IELTS reading, underline any interesting words that you come across and write those words in your copy and make sentences of those words so that you become familiar with the usage of the word. I also recommend that try to use these words with your friends. Because using those words with your friends will give you confidence, and also it will become your habit to use these words. I recommend avoid memorizing word lists and concentrate on practicing new words. As I said in the beginning of this session, that many people, what they do is that whenever they think that they have to use good vocabulary, they go with the internet and different sites, and they just start cramming over all the words that they see there. So this is not a very efficient way, and in fact this will not give you a very good impression in an IELTS exam, because the words will just be in your knowledge, not in your practice. So you will not be using them in your IELTS exam actually and in a correct way. So my recommendation is do not cram the word lists. Instead, learn words in contexts, that how they are used, and then use these words in your daily speech with your friends and any other person with whom you have a comfort level developed. So these are my recommendations for you guys. And lastly, you can use the vocabulary for IELTS speaking, relaxed vocabulary for IELTS speaking. However, for IELTS writing, formal and academic vocabulary is preferred. This is in answer to the question that I often receive, that can we use informal vocabulary in IELTS exam? Well, obviously, you cannot use abusive words or any words which can hurt or look bad in front of others. These words are forbidden, whether it's IELTS spoken or it's IELTS written. However, you can speak words which are slightly informal in IELTS spoken test, and you can also speak acronyms in IELTS spoken test. Whereas in IELTS writing, you have to be very formal because IELTS writing contains academic essay, and that academic essay has a specific formal academic vocabulary. So yes, there is a slight difference between IELTS spoken and IELTS written vocabulary, but if it confuses you, you can always be formal, and that is never incorrect in either IELTS spoken or IELTS writing. It is always perfectly fine if you are using formal language in IELTS spoken test. With that, we'll move to the next slide where I think we have some good words for IELTS vocabulary. Yes. So here are some good words that you can learn and which will help you in your IELTS exam. So the first word is plethora. It is a very common word and it can be used in any context. But I recommend using this word in IELTS spoken rather than in IELTS writing. This word can be used when you're talking about something which is great in number and variety. For example, there are plethora of clothing brands in Pakistan. And well, it is a truth that you have loads of brands in Pakistan. So instead of saying a lot of or loads of, which is quite informal vocabulary, you should use the word plethora. Say it with me, plethora. Plethora of clothing brands. Similarly, another sentence could be, there are plethora of musical bands in Europe. Now, I would recommend you guys that you make sentences of this word in the comment section and I can see whether you have learned this word or not. I hope you like this word, and with that, we'll move to the next word we have for you guys in store. And our next word is mesmerizing. Well, why I recommend this word is because this tells about your feelings for something. Anything which is magical, anything which is beautiful can be called mesmerizing. It is a adjective and it can be usually used for describing things which look really beautiful. And specifically in IELTS spoken section, you have IELTS part 2 where you have to describe an experience of something, and usually it is a pleasant experience. So mesmerizing can be used while you're describing any of your beautiful experiences. And this is not only a word, but it will also add a feeling to your description, and you'll definitely get a very good band in your eyes. So this word can be used, the view from my hotel window was mesmerizing, or you can use her singing is mesmerizing. Mesmerizing is something which is extremely beautiful, which is spellbinding, which is magical, which doesn't let you go from there. So just like you can say, this IELTS lecture is so mesmerizing, you cannot go anywhere else. Sorry, I was just kidding. So next, we'll move to the next phrase we have for you guys. Okay. So the next phrase that we have for you guys is in the culmination of the above discussion. This is a phrase. A phrase means a collection of words that's often used together and gives a single meaning. So this sentence means that looking at the above discussion, a following can be derived. This can be used in an IELTS essay rather than in IELTS spoken exam. If you use it in IELTS spoken, it's not wrong to use it, but it's more preferred to be used in an IELTS writing exam, especially while you are writing conclusions. You can write this line. The answer would be like this. In the culmination of the above discussion, it is quite clear that co-education has far more practical advantages than separate education. This is an example of an IELTS essay where you can, in conclusion, use this word in the culmination of the above discussion. So it's very good vocabulary, and it will give a very formal and academic impression to your IELTS essay, and will definitely improve your band as well. So these were some of the slides I had prepared for you guys, and now I'll be taking some comments. So if you guys have any comments, you can, yes, if you have any comments, you can just write, and I'll be answering your questions from there. The first question that we are going to take is collocation, right? So Uzairul Haq is asking the question, what is collocation? Is it collection? So yes, Uzair, collocation means a set of words that is used in a specific scenario. Like I explained, that if you're discussing language learning, so there are a few words that you will definitely use in your discussion, which is first language, second language. Words like these are used to discuss the topic of language learning. So this group of words is called collocation, which means that they will always be used in one single scenario in the adjacent lines, right? I hope that answers his question. Next is, okay, now I think slides are now visible. Can we get these slides? Well, definitely you can go to the Language House page. This session is in collaboration with Language House. So you can go to their page, and in their inbox, you can request for the slides. You'll be able to have the slides of these specific sessions. Also, they will be uploaded on the website, so you can have these slides from there as well. For more questions, this would be on Facebook. Yes, somebody is asking that whether these sessions will be available on Facebook or not. Yes, definitely. These sessions will be available on the Opportunities Corner page. And if you want to come back later and see these sessions, you just need to go to the videos of the Opportunity Corner page, and you will get them. So same is for Ayan Khan. He's saying the same thing that many other viewers are saying, that I would like to have this lecture with me so that I can read it anytime, anywhere when needed. Well, if you have internet, this lecture will be with you. You can come back to the Opportunities Corner page and click on the videos, and all the videos will be listed in front of you, so you can find this one. This lecture is labeled IELTS vocabulary. So this will be the other one. Well, there is a very good comment where somebody has used, Wasim Khattak has already used it. There are plethora of subjects in bachelor studies. Very good. Well done, Wasim. You have learned the word. Congratulations. So with just one session, your vocabulary is improving. And yes, you've used the other word as well. Let's see what other viewers are saying. Yes. Noreen Iraqi says, please recommend few books or novels to improve our vocabulary. Well, Noreen, there can be loads of books or novels that you can use to improve your vocabulary, but the best way is to listen to a word and use that, practice that in your speech. So I recommend watching different seasons and movies. I recommend watching animated movies. Later, Language House will mention a list of all the animated movies that you can use to improve your vocabulary. Why animated movies? Because they are for kids, so they speak slow. Secondly, they use vocabulary in a descriptive form because they want kids to understand what something is. So I would highly recommend watching these things. I can recommend you novels, but usually novels are not that helpful because you just read a word and then later forget it. So instead of novels, I would recommend other books and seasons. Yes, here is another comment. Please suggest me good videos or website for practice, which is free for IELTS preparation. Yes, there is a very good website. First of all, go to a British Council official website for IELTS. That is www.britishcouncil/IELTS. This is the official British Council's website for IELTS. Um, and secondly, IELTS with Liz. IELTS with Liz is also a very good website, and it has a lot of free material available. For vocabulary, you do not need to hire a teacher. You can learn your vocabulary through websites and different resources which are present. But if you want to get your essays checked, then no free resources are available because nobody will check your essay for free. However, Language House gives you this option that they will check your one essay for free and give you a complete evaluation of how you are performing on that specific essay. So yes, if you want to get your IELTS written vocabulary check, just write your essay and email it to ieltswithsana@gmail.com. So your essay will be checked for free, but this is for one essay. Then there is a question by Jawad Panhar. How to memorize words easily? Any specific thing that we should have to follow? Well, there was a very good tip that I included in the beginning of this session, and I'd like to include it again. When you hear a good word, write it in a notebook and make 5 sentences of that word. Later, try to use that word with your friends, with your family, teachers, anyone. And this way, when you use it again and again, you will memorize the word. Then next we are taking a comment by Uzairul Haq. I have good vocabulary but not good confidence. What should I do? Because when I speak in front of class, I just speak as I'm reading. Kindly suggest some good practice. Well, Uzair, you are not alone in this problem. There are many people who face the same thing. In fact, in my master's class, I had students who had excellent vocabulary, but their confidence was low. So first thing that I recommend for your confidence is first speak the new words with your friends, because you're frank with your friends and your friends are always supportive of the words. So speak new words with your friends, and once you have developed a little confidence, then you can move on to the broader society and keep using those words again. There is another very good practice. You can start to practice your spoken English in front of a mirror. This way, it feels like as if you have an audience and you are speaking to somebody, although you're just talking to yourself. Also, you can see yourself that how your pronunciation is and your confidence will be improved. So speaking in front of a mirror helps you if you do not have any audience. Let's see what other words are there. Okay, yes, there is another question by a Facebook user. Okay. The future schedule, specific time for the next class is, the next class would be tomorrow, same time, same page, Opportunities Corner, and you can take the next one. It is about coherence and cohesion. Again, there are many people who are saying that if we could present some books. I would say again and again, please watch videos. TED videos are very good. You can use TEDx videos for your vocabulary. I don't suggest many books and novels, although there are many books specifically written for the sake of vocabulary. But what happens is that people read those words and then forget it and never use that. If you've learned or memorized a word, there is no guarantee that you will be able to use that word. So for that, I recommend watch Seasons, so that you have seen how that word is used and then speak that word with your friend. Yes, there is somebody who's asking, can I download this session? Sayyeda Rizka Anifi, can I download this session later? Of course, you can download this session. If you have a Facebook downloader, you can download it directly from this page. And I think we are reaching towards the end. Okay, there is this one other question from the same guy. I'm from Ethiopia. Really, I appreciate your effort to support us. One thing I want to know from you is that, is there certification for this online? Well, IELTS certification is provided by British Council. which is under University of Cambridge, or by Australia AU. And online certification for IELTS preparation test might be available by different sites, but it is not useful because in your real life you need the certification of a real IELTS exam. So that is only provided by British Council or AU Australia. So you need to take the real exam in order to have the real certification. The online preparation certification is not very useful. Okay, there is another question. How to speak fluent English? This is a very common question. I get that again and again. I recommend, like I had recommended another person before you, that if you want to have fluent English, try speaking in front of the mirror. That will give you impression as if you have audience, but in fact you'll be talking to yourself. So that will improve your confidence. Also, watching many movies or different seasons can improve your language because you can hear a word and then use that again. Okay, most of the comments are just like the ones I have answered before. There is one new question, and that is, how much time is required for practice before exam? Shaista, that depends from person to person. Some people are very good at learning languages while others take time. So it depends on your personal language learning. Language House provides you free evaluation for writing test. You can see that which band you are right now. And if you take a test, then you'll realize that how far you need to go. Language House also gives you test facilities for practice, definitely, not the real test. That is also only by... Okay, then there is Muhammad Hasib Ali. Could you please share links for the previous sessions? Well, this is our first session on this channel. So the next sessions will be coming in the week. So you can follow us live right now. Okay, Ji. So thank you so much for watching this session. And inshallah, we'll be here same page, same time tomorrow. And we'll be discussing a new topic related to IELTS. So inshallah, you will like that session as well. Be there tomorrow and prepare your questions. You can ask your questions in the comment section. Thank you, Opportunities Corner, for giving us this opportunity to tell people about silent vocabulary. And if you have anything particular, you can ask in the inbox of Opportunities Corner. You can also ask that in the inbox of Language House. So we'll be keeping your needs in consideration. Thank you.